welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 491. It is August the 15th, 2024, and on this week's show, we talk about Pokemon sadness, Switch 2 rumors, and a whole lot of release news because there's not much else. Because, guys, it's really slow. It's really, really slow. Like the news is literally almost constipated, which is the opposite of what we talked about last week. Jesse, you know what to do. What's up, everybody? It's Marty here with Nintendo Dads. It's August the 15th. We're at episode 491, just 9 episodes away. 9 episodes away from the big 500 episodes of the podcast, 10 years of podcasting, and rocking with me tonight on the show by our lonesomes, me and Mr. Jesse Waldock. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. It's been pretty worn out the last few days because we had to make room for new furniture install. I posted pictures in the adulting room in our Discord, which means we had to move. Like, we had one couch upstairs and I had a couch and a sofa downstairs that we had to get out of the way. So they're all Tetrised into our garage somehow until we can find a way to get rid of them. And then we got our upstairs has basically a couch and a love seat with a new table.
Those are nice. I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah, it's seats 5 total and 4 out of the 5 are reclining.
Yep.
And
there you
go. And then my new chair down here, my throne, for my gaming setup is a single seater recliner.
I love it. I'm looking at it.
And of course, my cat had already claimed it. She goes, "This is my spot."
You get out of there. Get out of there, cat. That is your seat. That is a throne if I have ever seen one. That's fantastic. We bought new furniture about 9 years ago. Or more. I don't say it's 9 years ago. Probably 7 years ago. And we had 4 recliners as well. 2 of those are now broken down because, wear and tear, man. And so we got rid of them. And now I have a recliner. My wife has a recliner. And we have another couch that doesn't match, but it fits the aesthetic, And that's okay. That's okay.
Your friendo asks if there's a cup holder and a nice chest. My setup does not have either. For the 2 couches upstairs, they were you could buy your pieces and assemble them in what configuration you want. So we bought 2 left ends, 2 right ends, and then one of the couches has just a middle place you can just seat, put a butt. So that one does not recline.
Yeah. So what you're saying?
And then the other one, middle, does have cup holders and a little compartment for storage and some power output. There's 2
nice.
USB ports.
So everybody needs power output now.
And 2 120-volt plugs inside there. And then outside, every recliner does have the buttons are on the sides. There's also a USB port.
It's powered.
Yep.
Powered reclining? Okay.
Powered reclining.
I love it. And what you've just told us is that you went to the furniture store and they just told you touch the ends together and that you can make whatever you want. And that's a little nod to Dads After Dark there. Anyway, we cannot be Dads After Dark. Nobody can. God, miss them. But hey, we're rocking by ourselves this week. Justin and Tim could not be here. And so show might sound a little different, but hey, guess what? We're going to have a good time. We're going to dive in and talk about some news. We're going to talk about some game releases and then get into what we've been playing and the rest of the stuff, including your questions. So let's dive straight in, shall we? And our news each and every week is brought to us by you guys over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can join up with the greatest community on the internet. Yep, I said it. I mean it too. I mean, it's not just something I say every week. It's the greatest community on the internet. We want to say a huge thanks to our newest Patreon, our newest patrons of the show, friends of the show, Avi. I'm going to murder this name, and it's okay. Avi Siplinski and Martin Kletzander. Thank you guys for joining up. And that means that we are now just one person away from reaching our 10 new patron goal of me having to wear Pokemon Crocs for a month. So there you go. You guys have done a really fantastic bang up job over there at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where I really think that some of you are just like enjoying the thought of me having to wear these Crocs. And it's like,
there's a question later on about that.
well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
Foreshadowing.
anyway,
For spoilers, one of the two.
we would love for you to join up over there, get in the Discord. $1 gets you into that. Of course, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber and you've got Twitch, you can throw us a subscription that way via Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, and get into the Discord as well. $5 gets you the whole slate of sub channels over there. $10 gets you pre and post show audio, and $30 gets you on the show. And Patreon producers, heads up, we're going to be scheduling your fall drop in this week. So actually, you'll be getting some links tomorrow or even later tonight once we get off the show. So don't worry. We've got you coming back, and we want you. We want you here because all of you make the world go round over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Yeah. So I can't say more about that. You just go check it out. And hey, even if you're not a member of the Patreon, you can head over there to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. And every Thursday, we do a weekly update where we collect for you all the news we're going to talk about on the show. We kind of try to tell you who's going to be on the show. There's links to all of our YouTube videos from that week, a helpful list of releases that we think are important with links to Deku deals so that you can save you a little bit of cash, and links to all of our other shows as well. And that is absolutely free and open to the public for whoever wants it. And all tiers of our Patreon get ad-free shows because we like you. We love you.
Cool.
We want some more of you. There you go. All right. Well, let's dive into the news. A little sad note to start with this week. Probably you've heard by now, if you are a fan of the show, that Rachel Lillis, the voice actor of Misty and Jessie from Pokémon, has passed away. She was the original voice actor for Jessie and Misty. And so if you grew up watching the Pokémon series, then you heard Rachel and you heard a lot of her. And so, yeah, it sucks. Somebody in the chat said so sad. She passed away, I believe was in her late 40s of cancer.
55.
55, passed away of cancer. And so most of us probably know her from Pokemon. She had, of course, roles in other things as well. But August 10th was the date of her passing. Just sad, man. Hit you in the nostalgia
what
button.
else she did.
Is she? Search. Oh, here we go. She voiced Jigglypuff in Smash Brothers.
Oh,
she also voiced the Pokemon Goldeen in the games, which I'm not trying to laugh, but I mean, you think about that. That's a very distinct sound, right? She appeared in the 1999 Pokemon movie as Misty and Jessie, plus Pokemon the movie 2000, Mewtwo Returns, Spell of the Unknown, Pokemon Forever, Pokemon Heroes, Jirachi Wishmaker, Destiny Deoxys, Lucario, and the Mystery of Mew, and more.
Yeah, she was in Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. She was in the Wings Club in the early 2000s.
Yep, Hunter and Hunter, You Lie, Your Lie in April. So a lot of anime, a lot of animation projects. So yeah, sad. Our hearts go out to her
I didn't
family.
even know this existed, but there's a Tamagotchi the movie.
Wow. Okay, yeah, you just taught me something too. I did not know there was a Tamagotchi the movie.
There was a
Apparently
TV
there
series as well. She was in
really.
three episodes of that.
I wonder if that aired around the same time that Hamtaro did. You remember Hamtaro?
I do. This was 2006 was a TV show, and the movie was 2007.
If you're out there and you're in the chat and you remember
I think Hamtaro
Hamtaro,
was earlier
I
than
would
that.
I would love to for you to let us know because I have this very distinct memory of kind of getting a little I won't say obsessed, but it was like I don't know, Hamtaro just kind of was like a brainworm for a while for me. So yeah. Anyway, it was on early morning. Here. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Guys, I'll be honest with you. We really don't have a lot of news this week. We're in a really slow time, and we will be probably because if you think about this, and we're going to talk about Switch 2 here for a few minutes, with that looming, Nintendo really doesn't have a whole lot else to talk about. Like, there may be a September Direct that kind of goes back over some games and gives us a couple of surprises, but like this
Yeah, I
is
think
not the
they've.
full frontal barrage that we've gotten over the last
Yeah,
7 years.
think they've pretty much given us everything that's left. That until the Switch 2 announcement.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, if you look at it from a release calendar of Zelda next month through Metroid Prime 4, right? Because that's probably it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 is probably it. So these are the months we're working with. However, Chris Dring, who is a known video game journalist and Eurogamer, they're backing him up, by the way, on this or corroborating what he said. That Switch 2 will not be available before April 2025, meaning that would be the earliest we would see that on shelves. They suspect actually later than that, like May 2025 or into the summer/early fall.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a March just so they can get a burst of sales before the end of the fiscal year. Because at
Mm-hmm.
least their investors would have liked that. So now that we know that, well, we don't know. This is all still rumor, but if presuming that's true, then they're not going to get much of a bump. Depending on whatever they have for the holidays.
Yeah, it could possibly be here that we don't see them meet those goals that they had, uh, because people are going to be waiting. Like there's definitely a difference in I would say public opinion. Like if it's April 2025, I'm going to be honest and say that news did not go down well for me when I heard it. I was like, "Oh, that is not like Nintendo, what are you doing?" Like, and I know that they probably know what they're doing. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, they've been knocking it out of the park now 8 years running, but it almost feels like they're due for a mistake too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't want it to be this, right? Speaking of Switch 2, there are some leaked hardware specs out there. I would take these with a major grain of salt. Um,
Are these
but
taken from like customs forms or something?
I can't remember where these came from. You added these, so I don't
I
remember.
I I
Oh,
did not add these,
you didn't
so
add these.
that
Okay,
must be
well,
something Tim did.
then Tim has been in our notes, even though he could not be here tonight. Um, yeah, like I don't know where these specs are coming from. They are floating around out on the internet. I will say that. And you can go and you can do your own research. But here's what we have seen. Here's what we've heard. A 60-watt charger with GAN technology, or is that GAN technology?
I honestly don't know what that is. I'm doing
Yeah.
googling that
So,
now.
if you're unfamiliar with that, like I'm familiar with the actual like written term, but I didn't know what it was. But basically, what it is
So,
that kind of charger allows for a faster charging. So, like when you think about your phone, like being able to plug it into a fast, a high powered USB brick or plug in brick with the USB-C charging, fast cable. That is what GAN technology is, and
yeah, So from Anchor.com, to make a long story short, gallium nitride, GaN, is a crystalline-like material capable of conducting higher voltages. Current
Okay.
flows faster through components made of GaN than silicon, resulting in faster processing speeds. GaN is more efficient, so there is less heat.
My problem with that is I love that explanation, but it still doesn't tell us how to pronounce it. So
Yeah,
it's just
it,
whatever.
I would just say I would say GaN because it's
Yeah.
chemical compounds.
Okay. Yeah. GAN.
It's
You're
like
like
we
this
say
is
H2O.
yeah. This is the reason that you're able to like put your iPhone or Android phones, the newer ones, on a charger like that, and it go from like charge to 50% in 30 minutes, right? Which if that is going to be in the Switch, that's a great spec for that to have. That's a great feature for it to have because I know, if you need to charge that hey, sometimes you don't want to wait. Also rumored to be in the Switch 2 a smaller cooler to go with the ones used in today's console. So the intercooler fan, module, whatever will be smaller, will be more power friendly. 120 hertz screen refresh rate, and so if we take this and we put it up against the OLED specs, all right, we're looking at a display larger than 7 inches, which is a rumored 8 inches. That would not be an OLED. All right, that'll probably be an LCD panel. But if you've seen the display on a PlayStation Portal, they can do some pretty awesome things with LCD
Yeah,
nowadays. Those displays are brilliant.
yeah. 120 hertz is probably overkill, but sure, we'll take it.
Sure, that's
Considering most of the time I'll be docked and I'm limited to 60 hertz if I'm on my big TV or 75 hertz
right.
if I'm on my
That's
computer.
why I kind of take this with a little grain of salt, but okay. Just for reference, the refresh rate or the display in the OLED is a 7-inch OLED display, 1280 by 720 resolution. The processor in the Switch 2 is rumored to be significantly more powerful than the original Switch, potentially an NVIDIA Tegra based on the Ampere architecture. The OLED has an NVIDIA custom Tegra, which is the same as the original Switch, so no change from there. Storage or RAM in the OLED was 4 GB, rumored to go up to 8 in the Switch 2. Storage
I think
64.
that's probably likely.
Yeah, 64 gigabytes, which is expandable in the OLED, likely increase from 64 gigabytes and expandable in the Switch 2. I would not, honestly, if they're going to keep the micro SD card, and they're going to have to for the form factor and what they're trying to do and cost, I can't see it going over like 128 or 256.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Last week I mentioned that NVMe is a
Oh,
possible
yeah.
storage, and that it's wider footprint but thinner, so should be able.
Mhm.
I think they can be able to find a way to squeeze it in.
Audio is expected to be improved over the OLED model, and there's going to be the rumor is potential for 4K output in dock mode, new cooling ability built into the dock, DLSS support, improved battery life, and backwards compatibility, even though the carts will be different for the Switch 2, which I fully
Which
expect.
is everything that we've been predicting anyway.
If you had a DS and a 3DS, you're used to this drill, right? You're going to get a
Right.
notch,
Even
right?
Game Boy and Game Boy Color did something similar.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They had a
this
they
is
had a different little form factor.
this is not their first rodeo here.
And so I don't know whether to take this like at face value and go, oh man, Switch 2 is going to be great, or if it's just, well, this is some more, smoke and mirrors and whatever. We'll know. I mean, we're going to know by the end of March. So
Right.
that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Basically, so far the rumors are this is just a Switch but bigger, which is kind of exactly what we've been wanting.
Okay, that's great.
So
Yeah.
I'm still in. There's nothing in
I
here to
would say
say that.
that one of the things that if they wait to launch or if they wait to give any details in March, I don't know that that is something that is entirely disparable. And the reason for that is look at the tail for Switch 1. It was announced fully in January and it was launched the 1st of March. it was ready to
Yeah,
go.
it
If
was about a
rumors
two
line up
month.
with if rumors line up with reality and Nintendo's been producing these and sitting on them so that there's not a shortage when they first launch, then there's a very good chance that there would be like another 2 month tail to this, right? I
Yeah,
can't honestly.
yeah. I
I
think it'll be a fast turnaround once it's
Yeah.
announced for to launch.
Here's the thing though. I honestly can't see them launching it in the summer.
Oh,
And the reason for that is that I don't has there ever been a console launched during the summer?
Super Nintendo. I think that was an August launch in North America.
Okay, but here's the thing though. And maybe this is just the way I see it is that August to me is more fall, and I'm putting quotes around that because it's more of a school month for a good number of people. People are going back to school, kids are going back to school. I remember going back to school hearing about people having the Super Nintendo, after getting back. I didn't even know it was out at that point. So the I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
they
I
launched
think of
games
August
in the
as the
summer.
hottest month of the year in most
Well,
places.
it is in the
So
southeast
that's
now.
deep. That's deep summer.
So, and I guess it's because here in Tennessee we've always gotten out for summer break for school, middle of May, and they go back to
Yeah,
school the beginning of
yeah.
August.
Kansas is the same way. Well, and that was a shock to me when I first moved here because when I grew up in Minnesota, the normally the finals were the first week in June, and like I think I graduated on June 2nd, I think,
And Beer
and
Beer
then
is
school starts after Labor Day.
that. And now school used to start after Labor Day when I was a kid, and then it bumped up a month. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
Beer Beer in our chat is asking, am I suggesting a holiday 2025 release? No. Here's what I'm saying. I don't see them launching it in the months of June or July.
okay.
Number one, because June is usually reserved for large video game announcements, trade show time, whatever presentation. July is when people are on vacation. You want to launch at a time you think people
Right.
are going to be bored and at home. And March is a great launch window. November is a great launch window. I don't want it to be November 2025. Hear me when I say I think that's way too late. But it's not, I mean, maybe I don't, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong and they drop it in June of 2025, but I just can't.
Well,
I can't see that.
well, we they have said that they will do the announcement before the end of the fiscal year. So that gives them a
Yeah.
deadline of March 31st. If we are, thinking that a 2 month window between announcement and launch is still in play, that would put it at the end of May, which I
Yeah.
think is fine. That would be a good
I,
time.
I do think the end of May would be fine. I'm looking
Yeah.
back and looking here,
Do it,
that,
do it the Friday before Memorial Day. Then we got a 3-day weekend to play.
so if we look back in history, the NES was launched, which really back then there was not really a launch day, per
It
se.
was a soft launch, yeah,
Yeah.
but
October 18th of 85 here in America. The Super Nintendo was August 23rd. You were right. August 23rd of 1991.
yeah, again, that was about 2 weeks before I started my senior year in high school.
September 29th for the 1996 for the Nintendo 64. GameCube was November 18th, 2001. Wii was November. I remember that November of
Yeah,
2006.
that was like the Friday before Black Friday.
The Wii U released
Wii U
November
was the
18th.
same.
And then Game Boy was out North America. Okay, hang on. I may be a little wrong here. July 31st, 1998 for the Game Boy. Game Boy Color launched November 18th of 98. They really like November launches.
Yeah, well, that Friday before Black Friday is a
Game Boy
popular date.
Advance. The Game Boy Advance launched here in North America June 11th, 2001. So, I mean, I will gladly eat my words.
Yeah,
No
so
Nintendo DS, November of 2004.
yeah, so
Virtual
here we go.
Boy
Yeah, and the
launched
friendo
August
asked
14th.
August 14th, 95. Yesterday was this anniversary.
Yep. So, I mean, it is all over the place, but what I see there is a pattern of avoiding those June and July months if they have to. In the case of the Game Boy Advance, it had already been out for over 3 months in Japan. So
Yeah,
before it
and
launched here.
Super Nintendo, I think, was almost a year. It
Oh
launched
yeah.
in '90s.
Yeah, because Mario World was out forever before it came out over here. And three was the same way. Anyway, whether you believe these specs are real or not, I mean the truth is what we've already said that we are. Let's look at this: September, October, November, December, January, February, March. We are 7 months away from the deadline of we will know what Switch 2 is, when it's coming, what it is, what it looks like, all that stuff. So we can wait, right? 7 months, not a big deal. We've got a backlog a mile long. We can we have got plenty of stuff to play. And speaking of stuff to play, let's talk release dates. All right, round out our news here. Arco, Phantom Spark, and Dredge Complete Edition are all out right now. We all have videos of these, or all of these videos or games have videos on our YouTube channel right now, so you can go and check those out. Decidedly different game experiences in all of those. Out soon, we want to remind you about Ace Attorney Investigations Collection is September 6th. Funko Fusion, which I had forgotten about, is out September 13th, and
Yeah,
that's
same
out.
here.
That's out pretty much everywhere. Plucky Squire got a release date today on Switch of September
Finally,
7th or September 17th. Followed a week later by Legend of Zelda Echoes of
so
Wisdom.
did you see the Plucky Squires release date release
I did
trailer?
not. I
So they
saw
put
it was posted, but I didn't get to watch it.
so yeah, if you watch it, they actually tease that it might be January of next year, and then because they show blank 17th of blank, and then you see the main character running around picking up dates and numbers and throwing them onto the slots. And when January and 25 landed, it went and then they blanked out, and then he
Oh, that's nice.
repopulated them with the right one. So that scared me a little bit.
That would be a long way away. It's like waiting on Donkey Kong. I mean, we know that's coming January next year.
Yep.
Also, just thinking forward, like Donkey Kong, Super Mario Party Jamboree is out October 17th. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven out October 24th. Farmagia is out on November 1st. Mario and Luigi Brothership out 6 days later on November 7th. Followed by the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake on November 14th. Stray on November 19th. And down the
I thought we had a
pike
date for
here,
Rebrushed. Let me
we
look.
do. We do. That is coming September 23rd. No. Yeah. September 23rd, 2024. So that's closer than we know for Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. I'm
Yeah,
going to be picking that one up.
I have 24th in my
I
notes,
love
but
the idea of the
I could be
original
off a
game.
day.
I love the idea of that original game on the Wii, and it played like such a piece of crap. I couldn't finish it.
I remember I bought it, played, I don't know, maybe halfway through, and I fell off. I don't remember why.
Yeah, it was probably because of the controls. You were fighting them most of the time.
Could be.
Also on the horizon, you'll get it. Lego Horizon Adventures has not been given a release date, but they do say this year by the end of 2024. So you can hang out and we'll update you when we find out about that. So that's our news for the week. Let's discuss. I did not. Michael Berget asked, did I mention the Halloween and Evil Dead games in October? No, I did not. Also, out on September 24th, as well is the brand new Mortal Kombat 1 story DLC and season or character pack 2, which adds, I want to say, 6 new playable characters or 5 new playable characters and some companions or whatever they call them in there, that fight alongside you. I don't know. I haven't played that game a long
Neither
time.
have I. And
But
I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game probably since 4.
man, I really just wish, and I'm going to sit in that pocket for just a second. I'll say this. Why can we not play Mortal Kombat 2 on today's systems? It's
I don't
my
know. That's
favorite.
probably the best. Probably the best
Why can
one.
we not play
That's
like the
probably why we can't, because they know
Mortal
it's the best
Kombat
one.
trilogy? I would love that. So if you're out there and you're listing Mortal Kombat developers, I know Ed Boon, he's a huge fan of the show, I need my Mortal Kombat. You don't even have to update it. Just give us rollback netcode and online multiplayer where we can play, fight each other, and let me play them as they were in the arcade. Please. I just want to play Mortal Kombat. So yeah, that's my plea. That's my new thing. I cannot tell y'all how many Friday nights that I wasted at the local Walmart with rolls of quarters.
Oh, this was while I was in college the first time, and I think it ruined my more than one quarters, more than one semesters.
Jesse, you probably don't want to think about this, but the when Mortal Kombat came out on the Super Nintendo, so
Yeah.
it was ported to the home. Um, I was in ninth grade.
Yeah, I was in college.
Yeah, I will never forget that game came out, and I don't know why it did. Okay, like I'm just to say, like I don't know why it did. It came out at night, like it came out not like a midnight release, but I remember calling. Okay,
Huh.
here I'm really going to date myself here and date you too probably because you may remember this. I had it pre-ordered at a store called Babbage's
I remember beverages.
that was 30 minutes away from my house because that was the only video game computer game store around. And I remember calling them and being like, "Hey, are you guys releasing Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo early? Because there's this rumor going around the school that they were. I don't know how." They were like, "Yes, we are. You can come pick it up right now." And I was like, "To the car." The worst, the most agonizing drive home. But see, that is okay. Soapbox time. That's what our kids are missing today is being able to go to Blockbuster and look at the backs of video game boxes and decide what game they want based on the 3 or 4 screenshots. And then,
Or the back is more legible because the front is sun faded.
oh, that's right. That's right. Or here's another thing they're missing driving home in the glow of the headlights of the car behind you.
Yep.
Because, and you're trying to read the manual for Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Nintendo because you just got it, but you couldn't get home before sundown because your parents had to go shop for khaki pants at Castronaut at the mall. And then they had to take you had to go to Ponderosa Steakhouse, the buffet, to eat before you could get home.
Funny you mentioned Final Fantasy 3. I remember I had rented that from Blockbuster, and I didn't want to return it and rent it again, and most likely have to start over or load someone else's save. So I ended up just buying that copy.
You could do that.
If they had extra copies around and would let you do it, yeah.
Have I? This is weird that we're getting into this. Have I ever told you about how I got Earthbound for the Super Nintendo?
You might have, but I don't remember.
So, if you remember, Earthbound came in a giant box
Yeah,
because
because
it was the
came
game
with a
and the
manual.
strategy guide and
Yeah.
stickers and stuff. So, I remember that at my local video store, the mom and pop video store that we always went to before Blockbuster came in. They had these metal aluminum racks hanging off the wall where they would take VHS tapes and they would take the tape out and put it in their big bins like that they got things
Hmm.
out of. They stored things in, and they would use the box as a like to show that they had it. And if it had a little plastic tag in front of it, you could slide it out of the little slot that it was in, and you could go take that tag, and they would pull that number, and that
Yeah,
was how they knew
very
the,
much
the
like
movie was
Toys R
in.
Us. Yeah.
Right, but without like it wasn't an envelope. So
Mhm.
you would just shuffle these racks, right? And so they had racks that were set for the width or the height of NES boxes, Genesis boxes, Super Nintendo boxes.
But
So the guy that owned Video
but
Vision in
but
Dixon,
Mother Two
Tennessee,
was too big.
and the guy who owned Video Vision in Dixon, Tennessee was a good friend of my dad. And he would always like if he got in a new game and he like they would know that it was going to be something big, he'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to put this out next week. Would you like to would you like to take it home over the weekend?" And it wasn't like getting it early or anything. It was just like there was like a week or two delay after it came out. He would always do that.
Yeah.
And so we were like, I was like, I would always rent games that way. And so one day he came in and he's like, "Hey, I want to show you something. Have you heard about this game Earthbound for Super Nintendo?" And I was like, yeah, I have. Nintendo's been doing like this bonkers coverage of it, Nintendo Power. I was freaking out. He's like, "We just got it, and I don't know what to do with it. The box is too big for our racks. And so I don't know, like I can't rent it." He said, "I bought it not knowing what it was, how it was going to be packaged. Would you like to just buy it from me?
Okay.
I'll let you borrow it over the weekend and you decide if you just want to buy it off of me." And I was like, "Okay." So I took the strategy guide, took home the box, had all of it. He just hands me the whole package. And I was like, actually did the shrink wrap and everything on that copy of Earthbound. And I ended up falling in love with it, ended up buying it. I was the only person I ever knew that cared about Earthbound until I discovered the internet and then realized it was a cult classic. And then I realized that years later, I traded it in at an EB Games for pennies
Uh-oh.
to get a Game Boy Advance. Like I had so many NES and
And now you
SNES
can
games.
probably buy 3 Game Boy Advances for what you can get for it
Sure,
in
right? So
box.
stupid. So stupid. I wish I'd held on to that. Anyway, long story short, somebody asked us in the chat about the Jackbox Naughty Pack. And Jesse, I saw that you had not, or you said, "What in the world is that?" Jackbox is releasing its first adult only pack of games that will be out in September of this year. These are games that are not on other packs. They're brand new games. One of them is called Let Me Finish. Um, so yeah, I mean there's that. You can kind of infer your own things. I don't know what these games are, I haven't seen them. But Faking It All Night Long
Oh
is
boy.
one of the games. Dirty Drawful and Let Me Finish. Answer questions like, "How does this avocado get aroused?" Those are words I never thought I would say on the Nintendo Dads podcast, but there you
That's
go.
2 weeks in a row,
This
apparently.
is not a game you want to get and play with your kids. All right. Or maybe you do, but we will, that's a whole other conversation. But it does not have a release date. It just says September. And Jackbox does this. Usually their new pack comes out in October every year, and it says October 25 or 24 or 23 until it's like 2 weeks before release date. And they're like, "Hey, yeah, here's the release date for it. It'll be out in 2 weeks." I expect it middle of the month. So there you
Sounds
go.
reasonable.
That's there. Hey, so let's discuss. We have our question of the week this week. This week's in honor of me and Jesse being the dynamic duo, power in the podcast this week. We ask you, who are your favorite dynamic duos in gaming? Who are your favorite dynamic duos in gaming? Mecha Dragon says, bit of a cliche answer, but Sonic and Tails, mostly because of the brotherly love I feel like Sonic gives to Tails. It's really cute. Zablanc goes above and beyond. He says Mario and Luigi, Ryu and Ken, Max and Chloe, Joel and Ellie. Darth Platypus says Mario and Luigi are the first to pop to mind, but Donkey and Diddy Kong and Master Chief and Cortana as well. Hoot said, who could ever forget the first time that King DDD and Ike from Fire Emblem were able to face off against each other for the first time in Smash Brothers Brawl? Matchup of the century. On a more serious note, the anime Warrior Cop and his or her chimeras from Astral Chain make for a pretty impactful duo from a gameplay perspective. Jesse, I'm going to throw this question over to you. Who is your favorite dynamic duo in gaming?
Well, the first thing I thought of, just because a game either just recently came out or will come out soon, is Sam and Max.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've never actually played any of their games, but I've played. There was 2 different games of Poker Night at the Inventory released on Steam, and I played the hell out of both of them, and they're hilarious. But I think my other answer, which is more Nintendo, would be Link and.
Hey, listen.
No. Okay, so for me, the very first serious answer, I have 2 serious answers. All right. One of them is Nintendo and one of them is Nintendo. So I'll do the Nintendo one first, and that is Ratchet and Clank. I love those games.
Oh, yeah.
I love the dynamic of Ratchet and Clank. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, 95% of the game playing with Ratchet, but then you get to play Clank in some of those levels. It's really fun. The riding is always good. The gunplay is always a whole lot of fun, upgrading all those weapons, and I love the Ratchet and Clank series. My Nintendo dynamic duo is Wario and Waluigi.
Okay.
Wario and Waluigi. I love it. I love them. I wish we saw it more. I think that's wasted potential, honestly. Like a Wario and Waluigi comedy adventure.
Yeah.
A couple of people in the chat are throwing in some answers here. Toe Jam and Earl. That's a good one. Michael Bergen says, I would have thought Marty would go with Mega Man and Rush. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I forgot. That's sacrilege? I know.
Or in the same series, you can go Rock and Roll, you can go Trouble and Bass,
but not X and Zero.
Nope.
Anyway, yeah, Billy and Jimmy from Double Dragon and Banjo Kazooie. I thought we were going to make it out of here without a Banjo Kazooie reference. No, not a one person said Ash and Pikachu.
I never even thought Pokemon. So yeah. Well,
not one person.
If you think about it, Ash is not a Nintendo character.
Well, we didn't ask for Nintendo characters. We asked for duos in gaming.
Well,
that's how Joel and Ellie got in there, unless we're going to get a Lego Last of Us on the Switch. Which would actually
but still
be a lot of fun.
Ash wasn't in a game for a while, because in the original game, he wasn't Ash, he was Red.
Yeah, they hadn't planned that far ahead. They hadn't planned for anime success yet.
They did not.
My other favorite dynamic duo is Pokemon Company and Bugs.
What?
Pokemon Company and Game Breaking Bugs.
Oh, okay. Game Breaking Bugs. Okay.
Joe and Mac has been suggested. Look, we're getting way too far back in the SNES archives here if we're hitting Joe and Mac.
Zach and Wiki?
Hockey and Rocky. Yeah, Zach and Wiki. Golly, you could go.
I think I've tried to play that game. It didn't last long.
I loved it. That was so good. I need another one. That's our question of the week. let's talk about what we've been playing. All right, Jesse, you're up first. What you been playing?
All right, so I continued my run of SteamWorld Heist 2, and I got frustrated and stopped. And I don't know how I got through the first game. I did somehow, but this is just reminding me why I don't like games like Fire Emblem. It's like most of the levels are designed to you go in, you lose, hopefully you learn something, and then you try it again with this with now that you can formulate a strategy where before you just went in blind. And I kind of don't want to lose every match, every other match, or every 2 out of 3 matches. So yeah, I just kind of stopped. Like when Tim did a live stream the other day, and I was at that point in the game, and then he apparently has gotten much farther since then because he says he's got 20 hours into the game and is loving it. But I've already thrown in the towel.
Wow. Okay.
And Friendo asked if I have tried Unicorn Overload. No. It's probably
I'm
the same
still
type of game.
I'm still waiting for the Unicorn Overload version of that game. As that's what I say most of the time when I think about that game. Like, have you played Unicorn Overload?
Well,
That
he
would
actually
be
typed over
amazing.
he actually typed Overload.
Yeah. So I would love that game.
Yeah.
It's just a game where you're stuck in a factory making unicorn toys.
I don't remember the name of the game, but I played a card game with my family this weekend. It's basically raising an army of unicorns.
Oh, Unstable Unicorns.
Yes, yes.
The game that I call it the game that never ends. Because it does, man, it takes forever. It's like every card has a counter for, and it's like there's
Yeah,
so much reading. We played it with
right.
some friends of ours, and the art is amazing on it. Like the art is cute, the concept is fun, but I took forever.
So
That was
then
not intended horse sound.
so I took your advice from last week and I played Thank Goodness You're Here.
Okay,
It was awesome. I think I took about 2 hours for me to play through it. I did it over 2 sessions,
okay,
and yeah, it's going through the same scenes over and over again, but every time you loop through, something's different. So there's something more to see. And I think
right.
my favorite bit was the two people talking about their trash bins. Like, you can't put your trash in my bin. You can't put your bin in my bin. You can't put me in your bin. What? Why are we both in the same bin now?
I love it. It's
Like
a
every
very
loop does something different like that.
Y'all, if you've not played this game yet, and I've got to go back and finish it this weekend, it's on my list. Because I played a good bit of it the very first time I played. I probably played 45 minutes, so I'm probably halfway through or more. It is, listen to me when I say this, it is extremely British
Yeah,
when it comes
if
to the
you're a
humor.
fan of old Monty Python, it'll
Oh,
fit right in.
yes, yes. That's exactly what it made me think of was old school Monty Python.
I was literally just expecting a big foot to go, and it didn't, but I was expecting it to.
Yeah, that would be
And of
good.
course, it would have to make that same sound.
Yes. I speaking of sounds, I saw this video somebody has shared, and if you know the sound, you know how iconic it is. There was a wrestler on Monday Night Raw this week that was doing this move off the top rope that he calls the tsunami. He's a big old dude. I mean, like big fat guy, and he like jumps off the top rope and just kind of lands on him like a body press. And every time he like this, the angle was he's hurting people. He's out of
Mhm.
control. He's doing it multiple times on the same person. Every time they did it, they this person who did this video subbed in the sound from the pirate from the battleship minigame in Wind Waker. So every time he hit,
Sploosh!
he'd go sploosh,
Sploosh!
sploosh. Probably watched it like 10 times because I just could not quit laughing. Uh,
Nice.
the internet is wonderful. My other favorite videos that they do, those that are edits, is wrestling moves. And when people get hit, it knocks rings out of them, and it makes the ring sound.
Yeah.
Rings go across the screen. It's great stuff. Sorry, I
Okay.
totally that was not what we were going to talk about. Thank goodness you're here.
Yeah, and apparently I didn't know this until someone posted it on like NVC forums on Facebook. But thank goodness you here is one of the highest ranking games on Steam
Yes.
for this year.
Yeah, there's been a ton of buzz around it.
Yeah. So yeah, if it, very few people are talking about it. It's but if yeah, apparently it's the niche people like us that are talking about it. So yeah, give that one a try. You're either gonna love the humor or you're gonna hate it. But I tried Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team, which is now on uh, NSO Plus expansion pack for no additional cost, and yeah, I'm not happy with it. It the first few days had me go through 2 dungeons. Sure, great, fine, and then it said now you can do these quests, which is going into the same dungeons again. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, it was it. If you like the mystery dungeon games, I've never tried one before, so I didn't know what to expect. But I kind of expected something like a Diablo 2. Randomly generated dungeons that you crawl through and do stuff.
Y'all, they lost
And
me. They lost me with the advertisement where they were like, "What if you woke up one day and you were a Pokemon?" Nope.
right,
Nope.
yeah, and that's literally how the game starts.
I'm out. That got me. I was done. Anyway.
Yeah. Then so the Retro Logic has a challenges type of has a room where they'll put in trivia questions and they score up the points for the month. The one of the questions like no one had the answer to, and then they said whoever gets this right will get a Steam code for Arcade Paradise, and they dropped a hint like the answer rhymes with this, and it was a number. So it was pretty easy to deduce after that. So I got it right. They gave me a code. So I go like, okay, let's give this thing a try. I played it for about an hour and a half. I'll probably play more of it. Arcade Paradise. Uh, you are you're the daughter of the guy who owns multiple businesses in town. One of which is this rundown laundromat that doesn't get a lot of business, and he kind of doesn't care about it. If it fails, I don't think he cares. But so he says, "Okay, this is yours. Do something with it." And in the back, there are a few arcade machines because your older sister already went through this with him, and against his wishes, installed some arcade machines in there. So the arcade machines earn revenue. The the people coming in doing their own laundry earns revenue, and then they also apparently have a drop off service where I have to do their laundry for them, which that's like the least fun part of the game. And but then so far I've played I think 3 days worth. At the end of the first day, I was able to order another arcade, and that came in the next day, installed in the back room. At the end of day 2, I ordered another arcade because there was only 2 arcade machines available to buy, so I ended up buying them both. And then that came in at the beginning of day 3. Uh, Now I have no room. I can't do anything else. So the next goal is, which will probably take 2 or 3 days to do, of this not so great style of play, is to earn enough money to hire contractors to bust a wall out. To get a permit and to pay for busting out a wall so you can expand the arcade part. The goal ultimately is to have your arcade bring in more money than the laundromat because you you think it'll happen, your sister thinks it'll happen, your father does not. So the whole thing is, prove him wrong. Is the goal of the game. So I'm hoping the gameplay gets better as I'm able to do less laundry and more arcade stuff. And you're able to play these arcades are playable. They're like there's like a game where you're a thief running away from cops, collecting money as you go around. Uh, think Lock and Chase, think Pac-Man. That's basically what the gameplay is. And there's a few there's I think there's a like an air hockey game, but instead of being air hockey, it's on an arcade. You can actually play against another human if you have enough controllers, or but I've only tried playing against the computer. I think I lost both times. Do you get to power wash the driveway at least? No, but you get to pick up the trash that people leave behind and then throw it in the bin in the back, and you
Yeah.
get extra money for that.
Everybody loves picking up trash,
Yeah.
right? Love it.
Yeah, so that's a game I'll probably try here and there, and hopefully it gets better. And then my last game is I continued my playthrough of Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King, just because I've kind of run out of other games to play at night, especially again earlier. I haven't had much access to my normal office space because of spending time moving furniture around. So I figured, getting dusting the 3DS off and playing it in bed was not a bad idea. I
Yeah.
do have another game on deck, a secret game that I can't talk about yet, but I don't want to start playing it until I can record the first hour. So therefore, I haven't been playing it yet because I haven't had time to record. But that's for a game that comes out in September, so I've got time.
Mortal Kombat.
No, not Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so I've been playing one game over the past week. And Jesse, I wanted to sit in this pocket and talk with you about this game because I don't know
Sure,
if you've finished it or played it. I suspect you have.
I have.
Okay. So in my quest to as I do, like when I buy anthologies of games or collections of games, I like to play them in order. Okay. And
Yep.
I mean I like to go to the very first one and play through the end. And so I, being here in the United States, never got the opportunity to play Final Fantasy 2 or 3 or 5. I played one on the NES, and I played the 4, which was 2 on the Super Nintendo, and 6, which was 3.
Yeah.
So when I bought the Pixel collection, I said, if I'm going to spend this much money on these games, I eventually I'm going to play through these, especially since they have the booster, and they let you level up quickly, and you can kind of power through them. I'd only played the first Final Fantasy on the NES, and I played through it on this Pixel remaster and loved it. I'd never been able to beat it because as a kid, 10-year-old kid, I had didn't understand the concept of leveling up and doing all that, like actually having to search the dungeons. I was like, let's just plow through them as fast as possible. So I never got very far. Same thing happened to me with Dragon Warrior. Which is why, ironically, I'm looking forward to playing Dragon Quest when it gets remade on the Switch.
Yay.
So never had played 2. So I finished 1, I think last Christmas, and I immediately started 2, and I immediately hated it. So if
And
you've ever played, yeah,
that's fair.
if you've
It
ever
does have a
played,
weird. It's a rough start.
if you've ever played 2, I think that like that first hour or 2 is make or break for a lot of people. Like there's a lot of decisions you got to make there. Like, am I going to stick with this? Okay, because it completely changes the system, and they never do it this way again. But the system is that you have characters that stay in your party. There's 3 main characters who stay in your party the entire game. And all of the characters that come into your party and go out, they all level up, but not a level number, but the skill levels up. And so, like, take for instance, if you have your main character and he's using a sword, he's going to start at sword skill level 1, and every so often he'll level up to sword the next level, and that will come with more accuracy or more power or whatever. So
Yeah, or sometimes more hits per turn.
more
So
hits
if
per
it's
turn.
if it
Yes.
does 4 hits, you'll do 4 times the damage over
Yes.
what
It's
single hit would do.
and you can, like, I do like about this game that you can see a very marked difference when you level up a skill, right?
Yeah, it
Especially
is noticeable.
with your sword, with your attack and your spells. What I don't like about this game is that that everything has to fit into that system. And so there are some spells that are absolutely have the most arbitrary crap that they don't explain. Like the fact that Isuna, which is your spell for relieving status effects,
For curing effects
can't cure all the effects at
until it's
level
leveled up.
1. So then you have to sit in battle, like I did tonight, with
Just
one of your
spamming
person
Asuna.
petrified. He cannot do anything because you don't have a golden needle to turn him back. So he's gotten some random, status effect like frog or whatever, and you can't change them back. And it's not like Final Fantasy IV, where if you cast the frog spell on somebody that's a frog, it turns them back into a human. No,
Okay.
you have to have Stona to turn somebody back from stone. You have to have Froga to turn somebody back from a frog.
Is that what they call
Many,
it?
I think it's Froga. I don't know.
Well,
I never saw it.
newer games calls it Maiden's Kiss.
There is an item called Maiden's
Oh,
Kiss.
the item, not the okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the
I'm talking about this.
item.
There's a
Oh, the
spell.
spell. Oh,
There's a
yeah.
spell that you have to do. So here is, like, I want to be as unbiased as possible because I'm gonna say this. I'm glad that I went through it. I beat it this evening, right before the show came on. And my end time, and now keep in mind that I did this with boosters on 4x boosters on gold, experience, all of that. And I turned my speed up, like, walk speed
Okay,
was at a run. 13 hours and 40 minutes.
that sounds about right.
But I'm going to tell you this. There is no way, I'm going to say this right here and right now. There is a very little chance that you could beat this game without using boosters. It has some of the most absolute bullcrap stuff that happens. And here's something they don't tell you. The end boss of the game has a secret weakness that's a sword you got about 2/3 of the way through the game.
I was going to ask if you kept the sword.
And if you optimize your your loadout, it never enters your loadout because it's not powerful enough.
Because because it's only powerful against certain things, which the final boss happens to be weak against. So the first time I played Final Fantasy II was on the GBA, and I saw, oh, this sword's garbage. I'm just going to junk it. I got to the final boss, couldn't beat it. Nothing I could do to beat it.
Yeah. So my first swing at the final boss, I thought I was pretty well, like, overpowered, right? Like, because when I played Final Fantasy 1 and I used the boosters, I beat Chaos in 2 turns. So
Yeah.
I thought I was pretty overpowered here because I could beat most monsters in one attack because I was dual wielding most weapons of my characters, and they were hitting for up to 7 to 9 different attacks per turn. So I felt like it was pretty good. I got my rear end handed to me. The end boss of the game that was standing in front of me that I had to talk to trigger the fight, got ambushed on the very first turn and immediately killed one of my characters with one hit. And I was like, holy crap. That immediately I was like, okay, there's no way I could have beaten this game like playing through it regular. Yeah. Because
so when you said Froga, it made me think of this.
Yep, that's going to be the name of the show this week, Froga. Anyway, the point is that if you don't use the boosters, leveling in this game is painfully slow to a point where it becomes like the ultimate grind RPG.
Yeah.
So, and there is, so I would say this too, it has the most janky bullcrap map that's in any game, any role-playing game I've ever played, because this game constantly forces you to leave where you are and go back to the original town that you like that you were in at the start of the game to get your next mission.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes like literally a 20-minute walk across the map.
That's
It's
that's that's well, like Dragon Quest games I don't think does this often, but at least Dragon Quest games give you a spell called Zoom that lets you fast travel to any other city you've previously been to.
and
So
the
doing
yeah,
this type, because like I'm playing 8, and there is a side quest where he takes pictures of certain things he was interested in. You go back to him, show him the pictures, and you get rewards.
yeah,
So, but traveling back to him isn't so bad with Zoom, because you can zoom, drop off the pictures, and then zoom back to where you were and continue what you
that's
were
good.
doing. The whole thing takes 5 minutes.
Reed Dillard in our chat says, he says, I love Breath of the Wild too, but I feel that way about the map and traversing it and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And that is also one of that's how I feel about the Breath of Fire 2 map. So maybe he's talking about both of those. Here's what I would say. It almost like even with the boosters and everything, the movement on the map almost made me quit at one time, because this game spams random encounters so bad. Like using the sped
Yeah,
up thing, while you're running the map, literally a fight every 10 seconds. Like you get out of a fight, the music doesn't even have time to get 10 seconds in before you're in another fight. And they loved multiples in this game. Like not just one enemy. No, there's 8 of them, right?
yeah. That
And
was Well, even the first game you can have up to 9 enemies if
yeah,
they're
I
small
remember that.
enough. But yeah, and again, but just like Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest 1, it was always a one-on-one. You never had multiple enemies, but 2 introduced multiple enemies because you can then also have a bigger party.
Hmm.
So the Final Fantasy
Yeah,
2 up
I
upped the scales from where 1 was
like
in a
I'm glad
similar
that
way.
I don't hear me wrong. Like I'm glad that I've done this. Like and now I'm going to progress on to 3. I'm glad that I was able to do it and get through it and say, hey, I've got the check mark. But I'm probably never going to play this game again.
And
Um,
that's fair. I don't plan on playing
and
2 again.
it is easy to see some of the advances that they had. I mean, they went from the just some of the things and carrying some things over too from that game to the rest, like lore that continued on, names that continued on of enemies, you know, and I think part of what frustrated me about it is that it seemed like they tried to go for this bigger, more epic story and world, and then it had the same amount of dialogue as the first Final Fantasy. There's
Yeah,
not a lot of filling things in. There's not a lot of cut scenes. There's not a lot of like you do something and like it's like okay, yeah, you beat this boss, or you saved this town. Now what? Oh, I guess I'll go back to Altair because I got to go learn another word. And that's another thing too. The learning words and asking questions system. Like that kind of I didn't like it because if I'm asking somebody something, like if I'm asking the princess who's the kind of the central character of the game besides you, if I'm asking her about a plot point, all you end up getting is like a one sentence thing, and it's like that doesn't even tell me where I'm supposed to go. It's like ask about the goddess bell. Well, the goddess bell was created to do blah blah blah. Okay, great. What am I supposed to do with that? So I would say that if I didn't have a guide for this game too, most of the time I would have had no clue what to do, where I was going.
yeah.
I would have
Well,
wasted tons more time on the map and dungeons. Ugh.
yeah. I'm going to say you might want to have a guide handy with when you get to 3 because that is a game I didn't finish. I got deep in, but I never finished it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play it with a guide. That's what I'm doing. Just like this one, I'm playing it on boosted. That's all I'm doing. So that's what I've been playing. Also, I dipped back into Nintendo World Championships this week or tonight because I wanted to see my scores on this week's challenges. I didn't do too bad. It was like top 24% for a couple
I
of those.
actually had a decent one. I took a picture of it. Let me find it. Um, I had a top 14% with
Wow.
the Metroid Power Grab missile.
Wow.
I got
I think I was 24 on that.
4,800 out of 34,000.
What was your time?
16.46 S rank.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the first time I ever got top 20.
Was that 14% in your age bracket?
Uh, no, that was the overall. I think my age bracket might have been more like 16%, but it was still top 20.
Wow, that's cool. That's good. That's awesome, man. That's a game I pop into for like 5 minutes a week.
Yeah,
Do the
that's about it
challenges,
too.
get the
Here too.
pins. That's about it. The other thing I was playing is I helped bid farewell to Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3. There was
Bye
a
bye.
mini event on Saturday that kind of set up the beginning of the end of this season. Little cinematic that happened in game, like during a match. So it was pretty cool. I'm looking forward to. I set up Saturday night as well, and endured the delays and watched the D23 Fortnite reveals where they revealed the collaboration with the Incredibles and um with the Mandalorian. They've Moff Gideon and Grogu and IG-88, I guess, are in Fortnite now, and they're going to be adding
Oh,
villains. They're going to be adding Mr. and Mrs. Incredible and Frozone
really?
from there, and then
It's like
they are
Disney
doing
Infinity is now in
well.
Fortnite.
They're doing this big hub where like Disney's investing all this money where you can go in and like there's going to be a hub that's just for Disney stuff in Fortnite because it's like they're trying to move it more from just one game to like a platform because now they've got
Yeah, again, like Disney Infinity
they've got
was
Fortnite
supposed to be.
Festival, and they've got Rocket Racing, and they've got Fortnite, they've got Lego. And so the last thing they announced was season 4, which is begins tomorrow. It's called Absolute Doom, and it's a Marvel focused season where I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time with um, Deadpool and Wolverine being in the theaters. Um, and so there is, let's see, who's going to be in there? Shuri as her Black Panther, like, Black Panther Shuri, War Machine, Gwenpool, Mysterio, a brand new Doctor Doom, Emma Frost, the White Queen, and Jonesy as Captain America, and the Peelverine, which is a banana with Wolverine claws, which that is my dude. I'm all about Peelverine. Also, they're bringing back the like some of the like one of the things I really enjoyed about the previous Marvel um season that they did was they had superhero powers that you could get on the map. Like you can find the Hulk gloves, or you could get the shield, or Wolverine claws, or things like that. So Iron Man's gauntlets, they're bringing that back, and a few point of interest to things like the raft is going to be in there, and Castle Doom. So I'm excited. Starts in the morning. I'm really, yeah, I'm gonna probably wake up in the middle of the night and start my update for it. Because I wanna be sure I'm ready to play in the morning. But yeah, that's what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight and round out the show here. Yeah, so want to remind you guys that you to follow us on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, if you like to call it that, for live Let's Plays and first looks. Friday night, NSO happens the second Friday or Saturday of the month. Sometimes it's Saturday night, NSO, at 10 p.m. Eastern. You can come play along on Discord or on stream. Also, we invite you to subscribe to us on Patreon and Twitch to get access to Discord so that you can be a part of the table every third Friday of the month. And if I'm not mistaken, the table is this Friday. It's today. If you're listening to the audio version of this, it is tomorrow if you're watching us live as we record. And so that is at 10 p.m. Eastern every third Friday. And that is just, hey, come hang out, have a great time, laugh, enjoy. It'll be good. Yep. So that's tomorrow. So let's get into some questions from our community. Holy cow, we got a lot of questions. Did you have something to add to that, Jesse?
No.
Okay. So questions from our community. Man, you guys showed out. We've even got a voicemail this week. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Questions from our Discord. Zablanc asks us this. I just spent a week and encountered 4 different hotel accommodations along the way. Forget games, let's talk hotels. When you have that magical moment when you first walk into your hotel room for the first time, what are the most important things about the room and hotel to you that make it a satisfying experience? My number 1 is bacon, available at the Continental Breakfast. Nothing beats unlimited bacon. Man. Jesse, I'll throw to you. What first, what's your what's on the list? What's got to be there?
I don't really expect much out of the room in general. I kind of just expect the minimum, and if I get anything more than that, great. But one thing I do like to see, especially in the breakfast time, is the you can make they'll make your own waffle station. And of course, if you're in Texas, then you make a Texas shaped waffle.
That is awesome. Yep. The Texas shaped waffle tastes better too, I believe. Have you seen the automated pancake machines?
I have not.
You push a button, you put your plate at the end, and then you can watch it. The little pancake assembly line. It squirts the dough.
It's like a Krispy Kreme
batter. But it comes down, it starts cooking, it gets to the end, and it's on a conveyor belt, and then it flips it off into your plate. It's pretty magical, and they're delicious.
I like it when my pancakes flip me off.
Oh, I don't like that at all. Anyway, I would say that my number 1 thing is there needs to be a comfortable bed. If I'm paying that much to stay somewhere, I need to, needs to be able to get a good night's sleep, and no roaches. I'm pretty easy to please.
That is part of my minimum expectations. No bugs.
I have stayed in some doozy hotels. Let me tell you. I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to say this, and I don't know that he listens to the show, so I'll be a safe target here to throw under the bus. We have a friend, a family friend, that we go and do things with pretty regularly, that they refuse to stay in any hotel that they would call a motel. And what I mean by that is anything where the door faces outside.
I want my doors on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And the very first trip that we went on with them, we were driving, and it was me and my son and the guy in this family. The rest of them are girls. They have all girls, and his wife. And about his wife was driving the other car, and she likes to get there. We'll put it that way. All right. And about 20 minutes before we arrived at the hotel where we were staying, she just texted him one word in all capital letters. A text came up, and it just said motel.
Motel.
And he kind of looked down and was like, motel? What's that mean? And I was like, why did she text you motel? And he was like, oh, no. He's like trying to play it off. And then we get there, and 10 minutes before we arrive, like we're getting closer, he had finally said, "Yeah, I'm just not a fan of places where the doors are on the outside. Did you check?" And I was like, "I don't know. I was just trying to save us some money, you know." We got there and we pulled up, and I just looked over him and I was like, "I'm so sorry." But it was not bad. But y'all, they slept with the chair in the room propped up against the door, and I'm just like, if Shifty the Clown is going to kill me in my sleep here in the hotel, it's my time to go. It's okay, you know. But I've stayed in a lot of hotels, but if I'm going to pay money, I just want to be able. Here's the other thing: the air conditioning needs to be cold. Like I need the Arctic.
Yeah, that I agree with you. I like my air conditioning cooler, but my wife likes it a little bit warmer, so that's
Yeah,
something that isn't as important. As
yeah.
long as it's still, if it can get to at least 10 degrees colder than it is outside, then we're good.
I'm happy to report too that we had a good trip on that trip. Despite the motel, we had a good trip. We had fun. We all just decided that from then on, I'm not allowed to pick accommodations. I just stay out of that. They show it to me and they're like, "Does that look good to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it does." And they're like, "It doesn't matter because that's where we're staying. You don't get a say." So yeah. Anyway, um, TX Trey says, "I love a hotel that offers a light dinner, like a Drury Inn. It saves me like $80 on dinner at a restaurant. And after driving all day, I don't want to leave anyway." I had no idea this was a thing,
Either did I. I've never heard of a hotel
but
that offers a dinner.
apparently, Drury Inns serve dinner.
Nice.
They serve breakfast and they serve dinner. Now, I'm going
We
to be
should check
honest
it
with
out
you
sometime.
that for me, when I'm going somewhere, what I'm looking for, there is a particular brand of hotel that I am trying to get to, and it is called Country Inn and Suites. All right. I've never really had a bad stay at a Country Inn and Suites. Usually they have like a full continental breakfast the next morning. And what I mean by that is like they have the waffle maker, they have the cereal, they have some bacon and eggs, they have stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I don't remember which reward program it is, but my wife is a member of a particular rewards program for hotels. So every time she books at uh, a participating hotel, she gets points, and then she can spend the points on future hotel stays for or discounted or for free or something. And that's actually why we got our trip to Tennessee last year, is because they wanted to give us their pitch to
Yeah.
buy a membership, and we went through their spiel. We declined it. If we had that much expendable income, we probably would have bid at it.
Hmm.
If we would use it more than twice a year, we might have bid at it. But for she camps in tents more often than she hotels,
Yeah.
and
We,
so it wasn't really for our lifestyle.
when we went to, on our Big McKay's road trip, we stayed at a True by Hilton TRU. That was a
Mhm.
very nice hotel. It was very modern. You know, the room layout was very nice. I mean, the rooms were small, but they were very comfortable, and it was very affordable too. So I really liked that hotel. It
Yeah,
was I
I
was
think the
one I'd
last
recommend.
hotel I was in was when we were in Bahamas last year. You know, and that was a nice room, but for what we spent on it, it damn well better be.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It was
that's
in it was in their one of their resort buildings.
ooh, yes, you spent money then. Good question. Good
I'm
question.
still paying. We're still paying it off.
I would also like to say that I also enjoy unlimited bacon. That's a perk. Absolutely. Uh, Another question from the Discord. Hatch Tales is set to release on
What's that?
August
Never heard of it.
23rd, which, by the way, Hatch Tale, that's next Friday, folks. It's next Friday. Like, by the podcast next week, we will know whether it's coming or not. Okay. In fact, I'm, I would wager to think, and I'm not going to, like, I don't expect anything at all at this point. All right. In fact, there's been no update about it since this release date set out. was set out. So I don't even know that it makes this release date. But I want to say this. I I think it would be neat. I think it would be a gesture of goodwill if codes for this went to backers a couple of days ahead of time.
That's what Tim wants.
And so, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, Kaboski. Well, here's the question. It's set to release on August 23rd. Will it? Kaboski says that dang game was on my mind last night before bed. I was checking Kickstarter for anything about it, and we're 9 days away, probably for another delay message.
Yeah. So what I did is I looked at the URLs on the Nintendo site for how they format the URL for each game, extrapolated what I think the URL for this game will be. Obviously, is no match. You just get a picture of Wario's butt. So it'll be interesting to see if next week something comes up or not, because I would expect if a game's going to launch in 2 weeks, I expect it to be there.
Right?
And it's not.
It's not. It's not. Tim says, this is great if it happens. Not so great. I'm a backer. Where is my copy? Shouldn't I have it by now before release, before everyone else? And to that I say, Marty laughs in Mighty Number 9. I got my Mighty Number 9 game when everybody else did. I'm bitter. Still.
Stars was the same, wasn't it? I don't think we got it early. I think we got it at launch.
I think you got it the day. I think you're right. I think you're right. Mikey Burgett asks, God, this is a good question. What is a dead gaming genre that you'd like to see return?
Most of the dead genres are games that I don't care about anyway, so they can stay dead for all they care. But the one that I think I might have interested in is light gun games.
Yeah,
if you can get the technology to work right with an LCD screen,
that's a great answer.
Because at least the way the Zapper worked on the NES is, it had to be frame perfect. The gun is actually a light sensor looking at the screen, and in order to register a hit, you saw the screen blink when you pulled the trigger. What it's actually doing, it's going a screen of black, a screen of white, one frame, so 60th of a second fast, or then one frame of everything black, but the valid targets are white, and then another frame of black, and then going back to gameplay. So the system is reading the screen frame by frame to see, do we see a black, a white, and a black? And if it doesn't see that, it won't register as a hit. And that's why LCDs won't work, because there's an innate lag with going through HDMI, which mucks up the timing, so it doesn't register hits.
Yeah. For me, this may shock some people that listen to this show, but I would love the action sports genre to return, like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, NHL Hits, Mutant League Football, that kind of stuff. Because here's why. Growing up as a non-sports fan in a household where people didn't watch sports, I always had a passing interest in games, or in baseball and football and basketball stuff. But all of the games that were out, especially like starting around the Genesis era and stuff, I didn't know what it meant to run a play. Like, I'm not familiar with that world. So those other games, like where you can just control two people and break the backboard and flip around and, dunk the ball, that made it where I could play. And I enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed the outlandishness of it. And I would love to see some of that. I think now you probably what the problem is now is that your major sports organizations, NFL, NBA, MLB, they're just too greedy to let those licenses be out there like they were, and they see the potential for, like
or they're
limit.
giving exclusive licenses to a particular
Yeah.
publisher,
Well, and
which
I was gonna
I
say in the
think
case of like,
which kind of ruined NFL. I
yeah.
think
Well, in the
NFL
case of
games there has not been a lot of progression because EA can just sit on their butts.
right, that's what I was gonna say. Like, in the case of Madden, limited investment every year of limited financial investment for maximum return because people would just keep buying it, right?
Well, which
It's like,
which is
oh, we
why FIFA
updated
gave
the
which is
tackle
why
engine.
FIFA wouldn't renew the license, and I don't think they're giving out a license to anybody. That's why EA had to change
Wow.
their game to not be FIFA.
Yeah. Soccer football club, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
And then there's the big return of college football, which everybody was super excited for. But guess what? Next year it's going to be the same thing over again. You
Same
know,
game, new roster,
and like I would say, even
because
2K,
the kids are graduating, and so they need to get
yeah,
new kids, the new
even
freshmen in.
2K with the WWE games this year has been heavily criticized for all the bugs and stuff. Like they're cranking out DLC, but they're not fixing the bugs. They're the Pokemon company of wrestling
Right.
games. And like, I mean, and it's not like game breaking bugs or anything, but it's graphical errors. It's like, you make a creator wrestler, you spend 200 hours on it, and then you put it in the game and its hair disappears because there's a glitch, and then you go try to fix it and it deletes the whole thing.
Oh.
It's,
Mikey says
it's,
2K does have a license for FIFA and will release a new game. So apparently 2K's got the license now, but they just haven't released the game yet.
yeah.
Which is why I didn't know about it.
Anyway, well, those are dead genres we'd like to see return. Hoots says, what do you guys think about the folks who are trying to hold on to 3DS and Wii U online lobbies in certain games? Here's an article for context on what kind of efforts went into keeping that connection alive. And what this basically stems from is after we're now 127 days after shutdown, and there is one last person in the Mario Kart 3DS lobbies. And he says, you can't stop me. This could go on forever. And to that, I would say, what is the point?
Well, Nintendo definitely can stop you. They can pull the plug on the servers, and then you will get disconnected. I'm surprised they haven't by now. This is almost almost 6 months.
Y'all, just this is my official statement. Get over it and move on.
Exactly. Because what did it gain you? Nothing. You can't play the thing anyway.
I mean, you're going to be like, if you're 27 now or 25 now, yeah, if you're 25 now and you're in that lobby at 50, are you going to be like, your DS is duct taped together? It's like directly routed into power. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah,
I
don't think the 3DS is designed.
Years.
I don't think the 3DS is designed to be on that long.
No. I just think it's kind of silly. That's my thing. Spider Shan asks us, has Marty picked out and pre-ordered his Pokemon Crocs? Since it looks like enough people or very close have joined Patreon, I would hate for them to be sold out before he can get them. Well, I have picked them out. There is a drop that's happening in September that has 4 brand new types of Pokemon Crocs. And they are not up for pre-order yet. They are not, like, if you go to the Crocs website, they're not even on there. This was reported by soulretriever.com, which sounds like a dog, but it's not. It's a blog about shoes. Soul Retriever has
Soul. I got it. I get it.
Yeah, SOLE. Not, it's not retrieving souls. It's not like undertaking and shoe reporting. There's 4 versions.
It's crossing the river Styx version of shoes.
Yeah. 4 versions of the Pokemon Crocs coming out in September: Snorlax, Jigglypuff, Charizard, and Gengar. I'm shooting for the Gengar versions, mainly because after a month of wearing these, I am going to give them to my son. So he loves Gengar as his favorite Pokemon. He freaked out when he saw these, so that's what we're going to do. If I can get them, we'll see. There's not been like an actual release date even talked about, other than they will be out in 2024. Most people believe it's September. They're also $70 per pair
Wow.
because you get the
What's a
Crocs
what's the
and
normal
you
price for a
get
pair of Crocs? They used to be pretty damn cheap.
about 50 now, I think.
Oh
This is,
wow.
or no, hang on. These are, yeah, $70. Um, they come with 2 exclusive Jibbitz, one of the Pokemon and one a little symbol that represents them, like Snorlax comes with
What's a
Z.
gibbet?
Okay, so when you see a Croc and it has those things hanging off of it, like the little characters or symbols or things, they're charms that
Okay.
push through the holes on the clog. And it has a little nub that keeps it secure. So you can
Okay.
personalize your Crocs.
I
They sell
didn't
Jibbit
know that was a
packs.
thing, so
Yeah, they do.
I am educated today.
We are getting a Crocication right now.
Yes.
All right. So anyway,
You can tell how
you
thrilled I
can,
am. But yes.
yeah, I could see that. So I will order them as soon as I possibly can. If I can't get those, I will get a comparable shoe that is Pokemon. All right, like I will get Crocs that are Pokemon. Anyway, that's where we are on that. Darth Platypus says Nintendo has chosen you to pick characters to have on special edition Joy-Con. What characters would you pick?
The first thing I thought of is the first thing Tim said as a reply in the Discord. Yes. Our
What?
avatars. Our
Yes,
avatars.
us. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I have thoughts on this. I would love a Nintendo Power pack
Mhm.
with Nestor and shoot Howard.
Howard. That'd be cool.
I mean, that's extreme throwback, right? But I would love
That
it.
is old school.
I want a Nestor and Howard Joy-Con. I
You didn't know
also
there was a
want
Nestor game on Virtual Boy.
I also want shiny silver Joy-Cons in honor of Chibi Robo.
Oh, okay. Are they going to have a little dangly plug at the back
Yes.
that don't do anything?
No. It's a charm. It's a gibbet.
Is it
It's a Joy-Con gibbet.
Joy-Con gibbet?
Yeah. I think that would be great. What about you? I mean, you had us, but what about any video game characters you would love to see represented in Joy-Con form?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I like the Howard Nestor. I like the deep cut. Um, like, can't think of anything that hasn't already been done.
Yeah. It's I would almost like to see more of like homages to objects in the game. Like, like if one was like the
How about
hilt
a
of the
Mother
master.
3 one and then finally release it stateside?
We get Mother 3 Joy-Cons in no game.
Exactly. That wouldn't
That would
surprise
be
me.
hilarious. I was thinking like a Master Sword handle, like the hilt. And then like, the other one could be another Zelda from, famous Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Something like that.
A Bigaron sword.
Yeah. Or a hook shot. I don't know. Just an idea. It's a good question though. Last question from Discord. Chris HL94 says, with Super Mario World on NSO, I've been meaning to go back and finally finish this game. I'll pick it up, get through a few levels, and then drop off again. What is the game in your backlog that you really want to play all the way through, but you just can't?
I
Ooh.
want to replay Dragon Quest 11, but I just know it. It's a great game. It was I would say it's my second favorite Dragon Quest game, but it took me
Man,
120 hours the
I was
first
gonna
time
say
through,
it's a
and
long time.
I know that that's a dedication.
Yeah. It's gonna be all you're
In fact,
playing for a while.
when I started DQ8, I almost started 11, but I ended up not doing that because I wanted
Yeah.
it. I wanted something I can play in bed easily, and I can't see the Switch screen very well. That's the reason why I started playing on TV all the dedicated because trying to play Dragon Quest XI on the smaller screen with that smaller text, I couldn't read very well.
Gotcha. For me, it's Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I really want to finish that game. Like everybody says, the ending was epic. It's awesome. I just cannot push myself to do it. I don't know. I'm probably just going to end up watching the ending on YouTube. I don't know. Just I'm there. Like I just have to make it to Ganon. But I just don't have the push.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I almost didn't make it either, but I'm glad I
Look,
did.
I'll pick it up and play it for a good clip, like 2 or 3 day clip at a time and get some stuff done. And then I fall off of it for like a month or two or longer. But I don't know.
Well, I would say if you're going to make the push to the end, you're going to want a good 2 or 3 hours because it's not something you want to stop. It's not something you're going to want to stop midway through. It gets pretty actiony.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, those are our questions. We do have one voicemail from our good friend Christian, so let's take a listen to that.
Nintendo Dads, what's up, guys? It's me, Christian. Man, I missed you guys. You know what? We've been gone this entire summer. We've been to Canada. We've been to Tennessee, Australia. We've also been to Alaska. Man, it's just been a great summer. But I will tell you this. It wouldn't have been a great summer if I didn't get to listen to Nintendo Dads. So this call is just to praise you guys. Anyone listening, listen to Nintendo Dads all the time because they're super awesome. Super awesome. All right, guys. I hope you're having a great day. May all your kids enjoy their school year, and I'll talk to you later. See you guys.
Thank you.
What a class act. I love Christian. I just need him to send me a message every day like, hey, man, I just want you to know you're awesome. I enjoy listening to you. You're a good person. That's good stuff, man. We love messages from our fans. We love messages from people who listen, even complaints. We don't like them, but I mean,
we give those to Justin.
It means you're listening. Yeah, we just feed them to him. We let him take care of it. Well, guys, that's episode 491 of Nintendo Dads. As we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amira, RJ Kern, Solo Something, as well as 100 plus other patrons at every tier level. Huge thanks to you guys. Thank you for supporting and keeping the lights on over here at Nintendo Dads HQ. Also, special thank you to the 20 of you who are in our Discord via Twitch Prime. Over 1,450 Twitch followers and over 7,600 YouTube subscribers. Listen, it just means a lot for us to be on your radar. Thank you. We would not be here without you. We would love it if you would share and subscribe and like. Just let everybody know about us. It helps people find the show. It helps us, push those numbers up. And just means more people get to come in. It's good stuff. You can head over to nintendodads.org and find Spotify podcast feeds of all our shows like Star Wars Dad, Retro Logic's Family of Podcasts, Retro Logic, On Topic Retro, Retro Groove, and Film Logic. Our latest YouTube videos, our Extra Life page, social media, Patreon, and Nintendo Dads merch as we approach in 9 weeks a huge 500 episode milestone. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with the code NINDADS. That's NINDADS, and that link is working again. We had a little issue with that, but now that code is working again. So treat yourself 2024 to some Manscaped.com. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Or you can call in and leave a voicemail like Christian at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And reminder, wherever you download us or catch us in your podcatcher of choice in the audio version, please leave us a 5-star review, some written comments. It helps people find the show. And look, also, let's just be honest. Good reviews just boost our ego. Makes us feel good. Gives us a good day when we go looking, because we do. We see what you say. We appreciate it, unless it's negative. We don't appreciate that. But you know what we do appreciate? You hanging with us here for episode 490 with me and Jesse. Also, want to say as we close out the show that those thanks come from Tim and Justin as well. And hopefully they'll be back on the show next week. So for me and Jesse, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
What's wrong with you?